Computer. Great. Hola a todos, me llamo Mario Morales, soy un maestro de Crockett High School, soy un maestro de lenguaje dual hoy quiero hablar un poco sobre Advanced Spanish, right? Y sobre los recursos que he puesto y que he hecho para ustedes, ¿verdad? Y esto es más una guía que como una línea recta que tienes que seguir, ¿verdad? Primero vamos a hablar sobre pues la clase, ¿verdad? Aquí en este folder vas a encontrar todos sus recursos, right? Es decir, P5, Advanced 2022 a 2023, Advanced Spanish 5, y aquí están los YPGs, right? Hay más cosas como Anchors of Support, recursos generales, Performance Task Rubrics, and then cosas como SEL, right? Aquí están todos los recursos, pero también los vas a encontrar en esta página, right? En los YPGs, ¿verdad? Estos, like, si hago clic a esto, SEL prompt, es la misma cosa que vas a encontrar aquí, ¿verdad? Es tu hub, right? Vas a encontrar todo aquí en este lugar de Google, right? This folder, pero también todo está aquí. Si hay un problema que no puedes entrar, eso fue un error de mi parte, me pueden mandar un email y yo te ayudo como en términos yo tengo que mover una cosa a ese folder. Ahora, para empezar, la clase se llama Advanced Spanish, Heroes and Monsters. Tratamos de usar, right, esa visión o vamos a usar a Heroes and Monsters como nuestra guía de la clase, right? Primero, what we're going to do is analyze and establish how identities are formed, identify and celebrate heroes in our community, explore the components of a Heroes and Monsters journey, and become a hero in our own community. Esos cuatro cosas son nuestras metas y son nuestros como temas para cada 9 semanas, right? Eso sería the first one, second one, third one, and fourth one. Okay. Además de eso, right? También queremos reflect as bilingual and biliterate readers and writers daily, build community within our classes amongst our classmates and our teachers, right? Every day we'll try to have, cada día vamos a tratar de tener componentes de literatura, perdón, de lectura y luego también de escritura. Y cada día tratamos de tratamos de tener un poco de social emotional learning, right? Aquí, classroom and procedural. Tu clase es tu clase, right? Su clase es su clase. Como tú decides hacerlo, es como lo vas a hacer. Pero aquí hay una guía, right? Recomiendo que usen esto. Este es SEL check-in. Hay un SEL check-in para que puedan usar para cada día, right? In the table of contents, right? It'll show you different types of SEL check-ins that you can use. I recommend that you take a look at it, right? Recommend that you take a look at it so that you can just be familiar with it. Here at the bottom, you'll notice that there are possible stems, right, that you can use to scaffold, right? So the question, just as an example, ¿qué es algo saludable, útil que hiciste en las últimas 24 horas, right? At the bottom, blah, 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 something that I did was that, right? All right. Now, moving forward, I recommend that you start off with SEL. Después, here's a resource that I found that was in the district. They're using it for grades 3 through 6, but I think it's something that can be used at any age, right? This is structured independent reading. It gives you a list of things that you could do for every single day. To go back to how I envisioned the class going, first warm-up reading SEL, and then independent reading. After that, you would do your lesson. But sorry, to go back to the independent reading, this gives you an idea of how to start off that structured independent reading, so that your students are doing it every day. Yeah, it's like a 33-day guide, and it gives you like, hey, this is what you're gonna do for this day, and again, it gives you resources that you might, right? So again, I recommend that you familiarize yourself with that. In addition, you have different ways to have records, how to set it up. More resources here, library setup, how to set up your library, especially if we're trying to do structured independent reading in your class. Y también aquí hay recursos que yo hice, right? Para ustedes. Estos recursos son recursos generales. Recomiendo que entren ahí y que miren a los recursos para que lo usen. Right? So it tells you what type, what is it, a description, pros and cons. This would be more for Spanish language and culture, but you can use it for this class also. This is the District 1 pager, the Wicker. Again, just more best practices that you should, I recommend that you look into, right? It has everything that you would need to be successful in your class. Aquí tengo the prompts for SEL. And then here's a new one, or here's a different one. This is from the New York Times. It's a daily prompt. You would just have to go in and maybe translate it to Spanish. But it gives you a lot. It gives you a lot to choose from. These are specific for teachers, right? So feel free to go in there. Sometimes they have readings, then they have a lot of different questions that that you can use, right? Yeah, okay. So moving forward, en este YPG, solo hay para los primeros 9 semanas, right? So it's just for the first 9 weeks. Y solo son los trabajos que creo que serán los más útiles, right? The most important, right? Los más importantes. Right. Empiezan con las preguntas esenciales, right? Y, perdón, la pregunta esencial, ¿qué vamos a hacer? Y luego más preguntas que van a guiar esos 9 semanas. Ahora, aquí hay algunos textos que recomiendo para empezar. Título, autor, y luego, like, what type is it, o qué tipo, y luego, dónde van a ubicar ese texto, y luego, por qué. All right. No tienen que usar cada uno de estos, pero es una sugerencia, right? Ahora, so we're going to move on to, vamos a seguir a las 9 semanas, right? So aquí hay los performance tasks, right? Hay una descripción breve, qué tipo de trabajo o obra es, right? So this is the only one that's a daily assignment from the ones that que cumplí, or perdón, que hice. The rest I would recommend as tests. So test. Aquí hay recursos que deben usar, right? So hice una rúbrica para eso, una rúbrica que pueden usar juntos, right? Y también para algunos hay instrucciones en cómo hacer eso, right? So para como un Socratic Seminar, aquí he puesto las instrucciones que nos han dado, nos ha dado el distrito. En adición, pueden usar, pues como ya mencioné, ya hay rúbricas y recomiendo que lo usen, right? Y también hay anchors de support que lo pueden usar en su clase. Al lado aquí hay, ¿cómo se llama? Hay enlaces para STIR, en dónde pueden estar para su Structured Independent Reading, right? So cada uno de estos enlaces es la misma cosa, right? It's going to take you to the same, te va a llevar al mismo lugar, right? Pero el título es que debe ser, perdón, cuál paso deben estar, right? So that'll tell you what step you should be on in that part, right? So here's day 1, and then you just keep going day 2, day 3, day 4, right? As you're going through. Again, this is really important in terms of just setting up your classroom structure and and promoting literacy in general. So this is what I have for the first 9 weeks. Para empezar, es un trabajo diario y luego tres exámenes, y hay tipos diferentes, ¿verdad? So, uno es Socratic Seminar, so estamos hablando. Uno es ensayo, so estamos escribiendo. Es otro examen en términos de escritura. Van a escribir otra historia, right? Y esto es más como un proyecto que ustedes pueden hacer como ustedes deseen, right? So, hay eso. También aquí al lado hay textos que pueden usar para ese trabajo, right? So for Performance Task 4, recomiendo que ustedes lean 2 palabras, right? Performance Task 3, Medusa, el mito de Prometeo. Performance Task 2, el verdadero historia de los 3 cerditos, right? So it goes on the side. You'll kind of get some resources in addition to the suggested material that's here on the bottom. A lot of this is still in progress. There'll be stuff that's added so that you can come back to it and use it as needed. Also, this is very, very fluid, right? This is a new class. So as you are going through it, if you see that something that should be changed or added, let's talk. Speak with me. Let's speak with Ms. McKay, and then that way we can add things that need to be added. For other 9 weeks, I've added a project that I think would go with what the essential question, that would go with what the essential questions are asking, right? So I have the rubric attached along with instructions for those, right? So that would be one for that 9 weeks. And then for the third 9 weeks, I included it here on one of the essential questions, right? And then for the fourth 9 weeks, I included it here. That's not necessarily of like you should do it that week. It's just more like, hey, here's a major project for that, and try to incorporate when you can. And these are all related to the essential question. For the other 9 weeks, because they're not complete in terms of like assignments, here are some suggested ideas of what the goals would be, right? So for just as an example, for the fourth 9 weeks, the goals in addition to the essential question are like identify a problem in their community, make a plan of action, review and revise, act on a plan, and reflect, right? So just to have an idea of how this is set up. At the bottom, there's a lot of resources from the district that you, again, feel free to use, take it or leave it. I recommend you just go through and take a look at it. All of this you'll find in your pre-AP curriculum folder. If you have any questions, my name is Mario Morales. You can email me at mario.morales@austinisd.org. I really hope that this is helpful. Again, this is a new class. It's a class that I haven't taught, and this is something that we're trying to create together. So please, let's work together and let's add to this as we go throughout the year. I'll be working on it also throughout this year. And so, yeah, reach out to me and maybe we can collaborate on this. If you have more questions or if there's any confusion, please, again, don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you.